Thank you.
So,
For restraining yourself for 5 seconds.
so
That was only 5 seconds? Fuck.
do you guys think that this ghost video that we're gonna make? First off, I was thinking a lot about how we're gonna formulate it. Like, what's the outline? How genuinely professional will it be? I don't want it to be tongue in cheek, but I don't want it to be like a documentary. You know what I'm saying? And I was thinking about how we're going to do it. I have a lot of free time, so I can listen to a shitload, or watch a shitload of the content. See, like, is there a ghost in this frame? Like, that kind of shit. I can do that.
Okay.
I can't edit it, but I can use my time to look at things and hear things.
You know what I think you could do? If you did want to start editing something? You could start editing the podcast. It's just one audio track.
It's the equipment.
I mean, the problem is, like, even just rendering this on my fucking computer, I can edit, I promise. I know how to do it.
I saw what you did at the beginning of your one Let's Play by yourself. With the dog and the...
That wasn't even editing, but
quack.
that is a good example of what I'm talking about. I think I'm pretty okay at editing just because I understand that... This is double in the buff. It's Kyle, Cody, Chris, John, Scott.
Wow, what a segue. Is that your corner?
No, this is not even my corner.
I've lost my host position.
I think I'm pretty okay at editing because I understand how to tell a joke, and I think editing is like the perfect expression of that because I control every fucking aspect of it. I'm a god in this realm of the joke.
Great. I thought we were going to be doing this last night when you would be unavailable, and I was prepared to come in with some full energy.
Yeah.
Serious energy?
Like what kind of energy? Like, welcome everybody to In the Buff. We got me, your host, Chris. We got Kyle, Cody, John, and Scott here today.
Who's recording? Who's editing this one?
I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
You haven't edited the last one.
That was some serious energy, though, Chris.
Okay.
How is everybody? It's been. It's been a while.
I'm fucking terrible.
I feel pretty good. I won week 1 of my fantasy league.
They
Hell yeah.
high-fived in real
That
life.
was such a good high
It
five
was so
too.
we didn't
It was
get really good at high
so
fiving.
percussive.
I just
So many things to high five, but I got a lot of practice.
like an hour ago I kicked a bracket for a stove door and cut my toe open.
Okay.
So
I thought you were going to talk about a bracket for something else, but okay.
no.
We moved away from sports already.
Yeah, like for a second there when he said kicked a bracket, I'm like, is this a metaphor I'm not understanding? But no,
Nope.
he literally kicked a bracket.
Yep.
The Bengals have lost their first game of the season.
Rip my
Yeah.
toe.
Let's go.
Who?
The Bengals.
The Bengals season.
Who the hell is
Lost.
Steven?
The band? Oh, that's the Bengals.
They haven't been relevant since
Let's talk about the
You take that back!
The Bengals?
The Bengals.
the Bengals.
Is it the Bengals?
I guess. That's the name of the cheerleading squad for the Bengals.
Is that true?
Yes.
That's a good
Great.
name.
I'm so happy for them. You know who I'm not happy for? Bengals fans.
Mm.
Because today, on this day that we're recording the podcast, they lost 24-3 to the Browns.
Uh-oh.
Literally the day after they got their star quarterback, Joe Burrow, to sign a $275 million contract.
Oh.
They gave this man half of Ohio. And he got them 3 points today. He got them nothing.
No, hang on. He didn't get those 3 points. Their kicker got them
You're
those
right.
3 points.
You're right. Goddamn Evan McPherson. That guy's a legend.
$275 million.
3 points against 24 points isn't making anybody a legend.
So $275 million
For playing a game.
for playing a game over 5 years. 219 of that is guaranteed.
So he's walking away with 219.
Yeah, no matter
least.
what, he's walking away with 219.
I hate this world.
Now on the other team, Deshaun Watson, the guy who asked somebody to tickle his taint, politely, and they said no, and then news got out about it, and he got suspended for a year and a half.
What?
Yeah,
What a bunch of...
that man started the contract dispute
hold
for
on.
quarterbacks.
Explain that. What do you even mean?
I don't know the full details. That's what I do know.
Was like money exchanged for explicit favors?
He was offering money for explicit favors. They said no. He respected them saying no and tried to move on with his life.
Okay,
And then they went and said
This is like a Joe Exotic situation.
sure.
He got sheep dipped. into being like, hey, I want you to tickle my taint. Here's $50, and they're like, no, and he's like, okay. Joe Exotic was like, hey, wouldn't it be great if I gave you $10,000 to kill Carol Baskins? And they're like, no. He's like, all right.
So this was Deshaun Watson. He is the quarterback for the Browns, that's who they played.
Mhm.
He started the whole contract thing a couple years ago where quarterbacks got paid beyond the crazy large amount that they were already getting paid. He got like a $200 million contract guaranteed. And at that time, he became the highest paid quarterback. So on this field,
Wait,
two players were making $500 million
wait.
for a total of 27 points.
Don't the Ohio team suck cock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bengals are pretty good.
But why are they
They're
getting
not
paid
about
so
to
much
be.
money?
Well, Joe Burrow took the Bengals to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and last year he took them to the game before the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Which
So
is the
I-
first time they've done it in forever.
I don't know.
And Cleveland's been getting a lot better.
And
in the
OSU's
past couple
always
of
been
years.
good.
It's not professional.
That's college. You fucking moron.
I know OSU is good. It's similar to how, like, the two things I know about college sports are Kentucky's pretty good and OSU's pretty good when it comes to football and
Are they
football
both
and
Big Ten?
basketball.
No,
Kentucky's not
Kentucky's
Big
not.
Ten. It's in the NCAA.
Oh.
I don't know if that's
It's
they're
SEC,
all
I thought.
SEC.
Is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah.
NCAA is the whole thing.
Okay.
We have the Big Ten conference with like 14 teams.
I think it's-
yeah, I think it's 13 or 14.
Why isn't it 10?
It
started
was
out
10.
as
It's
10.
expanded.
Yeah.
Probably should call it Big 14.
That's okay.
Well, I think the like Sec 12 or something. I don't know. It's like
Pac-12.
Pac-12. That's it.
There's Big 12 and Pac-12.
There's something, man. It's so confusing. I don't give a shit about college football, really.
All I know
Sorry,
is
Andy.
that OSU plays at the Rose Bowl because we march at the Rose Bowl parade. OSU does.
I think they got to go to the Rose Bowl to play at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think they are automatically going there anymore.
Oh.
I don't think they were automatically going there to begin with. I think it was just
I mean,
a
we're
thing.
so good. We automatically.
Anyways, yeah, so sorry for the Bengals fans. You guys did dog shit tonight,
Woo!
this morning, afternoon.
Good thing I've gone to Seattle then.
But
Yeah.
you keep going back, huh?
I really want that Indian meme of Chris saying Cincinnati Bengals is no longer best team. I am now friends
That'll
with
be
Seattle
the thumbnail.
Seahawks.
That'll be the thumbnail.
Great.
Fair weather
Man.
fad.
Incredible.
How did Seattle do?
Lost.
All right, yeah. The streak is unbroken.
Geno Smith didn't bring in very
He-
many points.
He did good in the first half and didn't do jack all in the second half. Good for him. This is a fantasy football podcast now, by the way.
I
So,
can't-
you know,
Now that the
uh,
season started,
Fuck.
we can finally talk about football.
I can't contribute.
What we all wanted to talk about.
We should have started a fantasy league, guys.
The five of us.
The five of
and I
us.
just roll a d20 to see who I pick.
Yeah.
I'd help you.
You'd win the pot, probably.
What would it be the point of you helping me if you want to win?
Because I'm nice like that.
You're like, okay, don't pick this guy because I want this guy.
I don't want to just win. I want it to be competitive.
You wouldn't win.
He doesn't want to win. He wants to beat us.
Yeah.
What matters is the uniforms.
Okay.
Go
The
ahead.
best uniforms always win. What? So the guys that look hotter.
That's why Germany won.
Yeah. You can make as many jokes as you want about Germany because they started both the fucking world wars. Well, you can't.
Yeah, go fuck this
No,
guy.
no.
I'm gonna do it.
Serbia started the first one.
They didn't start it. It all got kicked off, maybe, because somebody from Serbia did something.
Some people did some things.
Yes.
Wait, where's Franz from?
Austria.
Okay.
So Serbia shot Franz Ferdinand, and then Austria's like, well, we're going to go to war with Serbia. And then Germany's like, you guys having a world war over there? Oh, hell yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this.
That is literally the attitude.
And then everybody blamed Germany.
You know?
To be fair, they did invade France through Belgium, which was the big no-no.
Yep.
To be fair, they're the ones who made it a world war.
Yeah.
It was just a war.
Skirmish.
To be fair, if Britain didn't
Respect that treaty about Belgium.
then Germany would have plowed through France and then turned right back around and plowed through Russia.
Sure.
So it all worked out in the end.
Here
Always
we
guys.
are.
two fronts. It's always two fronts.
And now we have an atomic bomb. Several.
Dear God.
You know what we also have?
A director that will blow
Comments.
them up. Oh, yeah, comments!
I forgot.
We got some good comments this time.
Hell yeah.
Anything not Final Fantasy related?
Nope.
Anything not football fantasy related?
Nope.
Oh.
So, on Waka Celestial Weapon Guide World Champion video from Captain Ziggy
Stardust?
MFZB, he says, he brings up a timestamp in the video where I say that you can get World Champion before going to Mount Gagazet. I obviously was incorrect in saying that. I corrected it in the pinned comment. This guy didn't read the pinned comment because he brings up the timestamp and he's like, how? How before Mount Gagazet? I just got the mirror in the calms. How do I get back to Luca before Gagazet? The bartender needs to see the mirror to obtain the physical weapon, right?
Well, they're watching the video because they can't read.
Yeah. I don't know why we pin comments. I don't know why we write descriptions. Nobody reads them. So, I answered this guy's question in the pinned comment. You can't actually do it. I misspoke.
Is this your corner?
Your
guess-
frustration with comments.
Yeah. It's always my corner. My comment
I
corner.
have the same problem at work. People don't read.
Lulu Celestial Weapon Guide Onion Knight video from A Truce for Bruce, 5388. I like the euphemism he uses here. He says, I deleted the water boss, but for some reason, every time I dive down to try and get the Onion Knight, it won't even show me the treasure chest or the other side of the rubble. Deleted the water boss.
Explain it.
I think I know the answer. He probably didn't get the mirror.
He probably didn't.
Probably doesn't have the mirror.
He
You need the
probably
mirror
did
to get the Onion Knight. We
If you're
explained it
listening to
in the
this,
video.
Bruce, you need the mirror.
They also don't have good listening comprehension either.
No, I say it every week. People click on those videos and don't watch them.
This is what I'm fucking talking about. Like, any sane person would just go like, how do get thing, type it into Google, and see, don't even click on any of the links, just see the descriptions in the links and be like, oh. And that's it.
It's not even that. They could just watch the video.
Or I could just spend 30 fucking seconds looking at the Google first search page of how do I get Tita's Celestial Weapon.
Our video probably comes up in the search results.
That's awesome.
Probably.
It does, actually. I've tested that. Speaking of, Tita's Celestial Weapon Guide Khaled Bulk video from Greg Maestus. I got the Onion Knight. I'm getting the goddamn salad bowl.
Right.
Okay.
Must be a reference to something.
I don't know.
He's getting that
Khaled Bulk?
Salad
Sure.
bowl?
What if that's just autocorrect?
Maybe
It
no.
might be auto-correcting.
It might be
That's amazing.
Cockney rhyming slang.
No,
Or
yeah.
Khaled Bulg just is his funny way of saying salad.
Onion Knight and salad
Must
bowl
be weird.
is Khaled Bulk. Yeah. Oh yeah, somebody corrected you on that in a previous
What?
comment.
They're like, it's Masamune.
It's
not-
did you mean Masamune, not Masamune?
It's kind of similar to how
yeah,
whenever we used to play Civ 5, I would always say, who's going to get chicken pizza this game? Who's going to get chicken
Mhm.
pizza because it's so good? It's such a good mid-game wonder.
What does it even do?
Chichen Itza is the one I was talking about.
It gives you
makes
plus
it
10
it gives you a bunch of happiness, and it also does something to your golden ages. I think they last longer.
Yeah.
Like 50% or something?
Final comments from Bad Boy DN5ET, Waka Celestial Weapon Guide World Champion video. I lost Jack Shot and Sphere Shot when I reset the data. How have you still got it in the video? And then, not long after, he replied to that himself. He says, my bad, I'm a bit stoned. I had to get the tech spot back. He figured it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, he got it.
My bad. I'm a bit.
Oh, shit.
That's awesome. Oh, that is amazing.
So, there we go. Comments done.
Could do the
That's
podcast
fantastic.
stoned.
No,
Okay.
Good, thanks.
I can't advocate that, actually.
Oh, okay.
he did. He
I was
just did, but
about
then
to say,
renamed
I'm
one
like,
today.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'm gonna take.
Don't
over.
worry, I threw my voice. I was the one who said
I'm
it.
taking over on the podcast right now.
Oh, fuck.
Are you? Because I kind of want to take
Go
over on the
fuck
podcast.
yourself. You don't have the force of personality required to do it. I've been pretty sad,
Yeah.
and I have just been thinking to myself a lot. And one of the things that I keep thinking about that does make me sad, it's not really a big deal, but it does make me sad, is I feel like I've wasted Levi Stranger. We talked about him in a podcast briefly. He was the backup character for
Briefly.
Cody's campaign.
That podcast was 2 hours long.
And his like the culmination to an idea that I've had for the past 5 fucking years, probably more than that. And there's just so many things floating around in my head about like shit he would go on about. Like he is a character in my head, and I just know that that'll never happen because that one shot was done. I knew it was a mistake making this guy my backup when Tybalt was the main guy, because I know Tybalt's not gonna fucking die. He's like, not only is Tybalt just a good character, in the sense that mechanically he is strong, he's got a high AC and high health and does a lot of damage, but also just narratively, it would suck cock if Tybalt died, I feel. That's a lot of waste. That's not as much waste as I feel that I've exhibited with Stranger, though. Because it's like you know what it's like is like loading an arrow, and you shoot the arrow, and Stranger's arrow was this arrow I'd spent so long making sure it was perfect and it looks cool, even though an arrow doesn't need to look cool when you shoot it, but it's nice when it does. It's nice. It makes the Fletcher feel real fucking nice when his arrow looks real good and pristine and beautiful. But all it's just going to do is fly through the air and hit a deer. In this metaphor,
break.
What I'm saying is the Stranger arrow's broken because we're never going to use him again. He's effectively dead, which is a shame. And I feel it feels bad, man, that I don't get to do that campaign with that character. Like, I had so much heady bullshit that he had loaded into the cartridge that he was going to go on, like, I've thrown this term around a lot, but, like, for real, he was going to be a wizard that wielded his identity like it was a weapon. And, like, the idea of what a true name is, in real life, John, Cody, Kyle, Chris, what is an identity, Chris?
Huh?
In real life, what is an identity?
An identity is how you portray yourself to the rest of the world.
Okay, so it's like, how do you portray yourself?
Like me? How do I?
How does one portray themselves?
So from my studies of Eastern philosophy,
Don't fucking do that shit. Just go.
You have an inner self and an outer self, and the outer self is what you show everyone else, and your inner self is who you actually are, and you're not supposed to show that.
Don't just label it.
Through your clothing and your actions and your words and like what you do tells the world, oh, here's this person. This is what this person is.
So a self, an identity, is a collection of images.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle?
I'm gonna alter that a little bit. I'm gonna go that the identity will inevitably not be developed by the individual that it is being applied to. An identity is a collection of perceptions from others about an individual.
Okay. But what about that is rooted?
I'm not ready for this.
What about that is rooted in any kind of tangible thing?
There isn't anything.
Then what are we getting at?
I think what we're trying to get at here is that for Stranger's sake, we're not doing
in
that.
real life.
In real life,
Is there identity?
only as we've discussed before in the perceptions of other people.
See, I think you guys are way off base.
Go for it.
I think identity is the inner self. You're saying that the identity is your outer self that you share with the world. Hard disagree.
Okay.
Exact opposite. Identity is what you are inside. What you think about yourself.
What is a person inside?
It's your perception of yourself. It's not the perception of others.
But like, okay, when you say perception, you say what you think about yourself. What thoughts?
That's a good question. I suppose...
I didn't say necessarily that it was made by the...
I'm not sure.
See, John, you got anything before I...
I'm kind of in the same boat as Cody. I think it's how you perceive yourself. But at the same time, like, it's the person that you want yourself to be. You know? Like, your identity, my identity, was fully formed by the movies that I watched when I was little and the traits that I saw when I was younger that I was like, that's the kind of person that I want to be.
So your identity is a collection of memories.
Sure.
So you're a Katamari ball.
I don't know what that means.
I do like the idea that identity is kind of aspirational. It's what you want to be, not necessarily what you are.
But I'm not talking about. See, I do like that. I really do like that. Both everybody's what we've talked about so far. But like I have just been thinking a lot, and it was these kind of thoughts that were kind of the birth of a character like Stringer, where God, I was probably like 18 or 19, and I started having these thoughts. It was like when it first started, it was very like teenage angsty, I am very smart type shit, where it's along the lines of an identity to me. If it is a bunch of thoughts of myself in my head, what is a thought of myself? What is that thought? And like I was thinking about it back then, and I'm like, it's kind of like I'm having an argument with myself. And that argument of myself is the thought of myself. It's like I'm arguing with, but what am I arguing with? Myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that means. And so it's one of those things that I've thought a lot about. And Stringer, it was born from that ignorance. And one of the things I've settled on was the permeable nature of it all. Because thoughts are fleeting. Thoughts just go and come and go and come and go. And it's like winning an argument with yourself. That thought like flits away. You can remember it, but it's just a memory. So what is the identity? And I remember thinking that and be like, it makes me think of the Matrix and how is that air you're breathing? What is the memory of breathing that air? What is the memory of that thought that I had that I think is my identity that I'm thinking right now wasn't an identity? Okay? And in real world, everything's physicalized. It's easy because I can just go, I'm me. I'm this body. I'm this goo inside my brain that tells me what to do and think and feel and breathe and whatever the fuck. But it's easy to get lost in the minutia of it all when there are hard rules in a D&D setting. There is an identity in a D&D. There is a true fucking name.
It's called a character sheet.
No, man.
Oh, damn.
There is a true name in the universe of the game. And everyone are born with it? There has to be a rule because it is a fucking game mechanic. In the game is that there are true names. So I just love this idea that it is like tulpamancy. Have you guys heard of tulpas?
Yeah.
Yes, from you.
Discuss this. Yeah.
Tulpas, for the listener, are like thoughts.
Platform constructs.
Kinda. But they're not really. Let's not get into the mysticism of it. Tulpas are very real in the sense that I can just think a way, and that way that I think becomes a way I act, and that is a tulpa. This that you're talking to right now isn't Scott. This is the Scott you're hearing through a microphone through the internet.
From probably 2 weeks ago.
Right.
At minimum.
That not even in a like on one level, 4-dimensionally speaking, I'm not Scott that you're hearing. But I'm a different person by the time you've heard this. And on top of that, I'm a different person than what I am right now. I'm not Scott. I don't act like this. Especially, I'm doing it literally for your 4's benefit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do this in my room. I don't talk to myself. I don't talk about bullshit like this. I think, and that's it. And I'm sad, and it just happens. That's what Scott is, right? Or is it that just a thought? Regardless, I like the idea that a character... I'm sorry, John. I like the idea of a character who, like, wields the world as if it were already a tulpa. Like, when Stringer started a riot, it was like, this is my truth right now. This is the person I am. You can't prove to me that I'm lying, that I was a man who worked in a butcher shop who's got his job stolen by a golem. Because that's who I am right now. And it's as simple as that. That sounds reductive, but it really is that simple. And I love the idea that
He can be whatever Gotham needs him to be.
the mystery of Stranger's true name is the mystery of what Stranger's true name is.
That's
Because
Okay.
so with what you're saying, right? So what is Stranger's birth name?
he never wrote
Because
that.
it seems to me what you're saying, you're implying that also is not his
That's
true
already
name.
established.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tybalt Greylock
That's-
isn't his true name.
Okay.
It's
so
explicit. Think
What
about the
fuck-
language.
What is a true name then? I'm so
Okay,
confused.
It's like a
So-
magical shit
So
thing.
this comes from ancient Egypt, and it's the gods decide your name and your
I'm not sure it
parents
does come
decide a
from
name.
ancient Egypt. Maybe that's
because
something.
So like
That
Egyptian
exists there at least.
Egyptian mothers would give their children two names, one that they would call them out in public and one that only they would know, and that's so people cannot like curse their children and put hexes on them because they don't know their true name, because true names had power in ancient Egypt. If you knew an animal's true name, what that animal's is called, then you could have power over that animal. And spirits and demons and everything had a true name, and so knowing that name allowed you to control that being.
Yeah, there was, for example, there's an actual mythological story that they wrote down that is the goddess Isis learning the god Ra's true name
Mhm.
because he was going senile and she needed it to cure him. So she convinced him to tell him tell her his true name, and from there she could then wield the power of Ra at will because she knew who she knew his true identity.
That's how she took over the pantheon for a while. It's so cool.
It's
I think.
very esoteric.
And so that's how demons work in D&D, is that
Okay.
knowing their true name. And even that is even carried over into the Mesopotamian and then the Semitic and then into Christianity as a whole, in that demons have true and angels have true names.
yeah.
And if you know them,
You,
You
can
can
have
command
power
them.
over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
usually it's used to banish them most of the time
Yeah.
is what comes from it.
Right.
So yeah,
Which, interestingly enough, I believe this is still true in D&D, in that a demon's identity, like their true name, and their physical form are all the same thing. So once you, for example, use its true name, you are also invoking what you would consider its physicality. If you kill a demon outright, you have destroyed it in its entirety.
so wait, hold on. In that way, because
You can't even bring them back.
It's demons and devils. They have like a hierarchy, and they'll change.
They will.
So they just physically change. Does their true name change?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Shit.
So,
This is super neat.
with all that said, I feel like I've made a huge blunder because
You wanted him to be this thing, and now you realize that he's confined.
it's not even that. He was always going to be confined
All right.
to a campaign.
I mean, would you be willing to run him again?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
That's fine.
not in a different world. I don't want to just take him and be like, no.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, all right.
If you want, if I run another campaign in that world, we can work him in if you want.
We'll see what happens. But it's just a similar feeling, and
'Cause I feel like
feels bad, man.
I
Chris.
feel like-
It's a similar feeling I have to motherfucking Oliver now,
Yeah.
where I spent so much fucking time on Oliver. I know Oliver. I know how he thinks and feels, and I know what he wants to do, his aspirations, his failures. I know exactly how he is in my head. He is a tulpa in my head. It's not that. I'm not sick, guys, I promise. It's not like, you guys ever do this where you'll be watching something or whatever the fuck, like reading something, and you'll be like, huh, Tybalt would have laughed at that.
I'm surprised. No.
No.
Haven't
But
done
Tybalt
that.
isn't a thought construct in my mind.
What I mean, a character. Be like, oh, my character would have thought that was funny, or, oh, I know exactly how my character would have reacted in that situation.
I think I was getting there a little bit for Aiden, only because I made Aiden very different from me. Like somebody who was already a family man.
I know I would have too many problems dealing with that if I didn't section those characters off.
I do that a lot. I do that so in a way that's like, I promise it's not sick. I promise I'm not some sick-minded, schizophrenic, where it really is just like, man, Annie would have had stuff to say about that shit. Like, she could have ranted for an hour and a half about that shit. And, or even something as simple and dumb as, like, seeing some show or an anime and be like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if my character were in this anime? How would that, that's pretty much how fucking OCs show up.
I don't.
I just know
fanfic.
In order to function, I wouldn't be able to do that without sectioning off the characters, because that would just send me off on a spiral I would not be able to recover from.
I don't want to be the reason you develop like dissociative identity disorder.
No, I think you're born with that. But the problem is,
I think it's usually caused by a head injury.
it's just
Is it D&D or are you born with it?
What?
DID.
D&D is what
I know, and I corrected you
Specific
because I thought it would be funny.
Is that what?
Oliver was a huge fucking loss. And for me to just transplant Oliver and put him in a different game feels like a betrayal of the whole system, similar to Stranger. If I'm just like, I want more Stranger, I'm going to make him again.
Yeah.
Stranger is one of the few where I could see that being feasible. Stranger seems to, from what I've heard of him, kind of transcend this concept of being limited to a particular game.
He's not going to be a thought form.
No, I mean, like,
mimetic virus.
No, he's like, he just showed up at the the wardens. Like, you could very easily just be like, all right, well, he just kind of travels and goes and does whatever the fuck he wants, because he does. He does whatever the fuck. He started a riot for no fucking reason.
It wasn't for no reason.
It seemed like it to me.
His reason was because he got betrayed by the motherfucking golems. He was that guy.
Have you not been paying attention, John?
No, I was lost in the second thought of a fucking thought, dude. I can't go past the basic fucking concept.
The whole thesis statement of Stranger is that his identity, his self, is whatever it is in the moment, whatever the moment needs it to be.
But I can't get past this because I'm sitting here like, okay, then why did he roll a deception check if that's his truth?
Because that's how it translates mechanically.
I can't just because you and the character believe it doesn't necessarily mean that we can just say he's not lying.
But that's what I was just being told.
So like, I might take like aspects that I really like, because I like the idea of a flying broom and the idea of like a witch lady. I think that'd be fun to play.
And Taylor Swift with a long tongue.
and I have-
never forgot about her.
Yeah,
Long tongue.
I've played a character, but I haven't recreated them. I haven't recreated any of my characters in any campaigns in another campaign, because I'm like, I made them for that campaign. No matter what happened to the campaign, I can't just
Bring them back.
I can't just remake them. They belong in that world. This isn't like fucking X-Man alien guy, heroes fight. He's a yellow alien dude. He grabs heroes from all around the universe and puts them on his world to fight to the
League
death.
of Legends.
Oh, Murder World guy?
Yeah. Mojo, I think his name. Yeah.
Modak?
No.
No.
MODOK is who you're thinking
yeah,
of. but
okay.
no.
But yeah, it's like that. I can't just take them and put them in a new place
Mogul.
because they don't
I
belong
think it
there.
is a mogul.
I do get that. I understand that fully.
I understand it too. I was just saying Stranger is one of the few character concepts where I'd be like, I could see that being feasible.
Well, like, if I wanted that, I would have created, like, I have this comic book idea, right? And, like, that's their whole point, is that they're from a interdimensional beings that dimension hop. That is what they do, and it runs in their genetics.
Now I am just thinking about Stranger being a thought form mimetic
No,
virus.
no.
No.
Versus...
there's a lot of different
Yeah.
things you could use to justify why Stranger could appear anywhere.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that he doesn't really have a past. He doesn't really have an identity. He can just manifest anywhere. Not necessarily just, like, appear, like, out of thin air.
I was
But-
thinking of it kind of like the Joker, where just anybody could be Stranger at any given time.
Oh, so now it's like Agent.
What if it's like Attack on Titan?
Smith.
Agent Smith.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How did you fucking forget the name Smith?
It's just like Academic Team all over
I was
again.
gonna say, there's one memory I have about you guys on the academic team, and you just decided to add "and" in front of it.
Ian Smith.
Here's something that I kind of want to circle back around to about something you kind of said about, like, the identity of a character, and it kind of reminded me of, like, the purpose of a character, or actually what really reminded me of it was your question about, do you just think about what your characters would think about something that you see? And I don't. Maybe because I don't have enough characters that I feel that strongly about. But, like, even from, like, a DM's point of view, I've made hundreds of characters in this campaign. And I'm suddenly reminded of an interview I read with a fantasy author named Raymond Feist.
I love him.
And he said something about how he views his characters that sounded a little brutal, extremely utilitarian, and I initially balked at the idea, but I think the more I think about those words, I don't like them, but I might agree with them. And he said, my characters, I write them for a purpose. They have a need in the story, and once that need is fulfilled, I don't need the character anymore.
Right.
He brings up an example from one of the kind of mid-tier spin-off books, Prince of the Blood. In that book, there is a character named Locklear. And if you don't know Raymond Feist, his books span like decades and centuries. And so this character, Locklear, is in this book. He has been in multiple books, probably half a dozen books at this point. He's a very well-liked and beloved character. And he gets murdered in Prince of the Blood, off-screen, very unceremoniously. And people asked Raymond Feist, why did you kill Locklear, Lil Lockie? And he's like, I didn't have a purpose for him anymore. I didn't need him anymore. And so I killed him. And I'm like, damn, dude, that's fucking harsh.
He doesn't serve the story.
But then at the same time, I kind of think like, I mean, yeah, that's brutal, but I kind of understand it. His characters are very transitive, I guess you could say.
I adore that concept. It's like he no longer serves the story, he only serves the fans. And I
Right.
fucking hate fan service so much.
That is why I like two things with characters whenever I'm finished with a character, is either A, and this is what happens with most of them, is in all the games where I've actually played a character and I've not just run stuff and I've not been the DM, I've always had the DM do conclusions where after, the main story is over, we get like a few minutes to write each individual character's like little epilogue based on what's been going on. And usually it's a nice little bow on the end of it, so we don't ever have to worry about that character anymore. Their story is now over. We're not coming back to it. Or, what I originally kind of wanted to talk about today was like with Gold Sneezer that we had just yesterday, where the ambiguity is pretty low. We're pretty confident what happened there, but the idea of they are now 100% dead, or close enough that everyone's like, we don't need to know what happened to Gold Sneezer. We're pretty good just living with him being dead.
So this might be just the expectations that John has set for this campaign, which I gotta say, John, after the couple of one-shots we've done, your campaign is writing a lot of checks that I hope you're
What was
asking
that
Kat.
hole?
Here's but
I'm
the
still
thing
thinking about that fucking lighthouse.
But the thing is, every time we
We'll say,
if you'd like
I got
to
to
know more,
play at a John one-shot. That was great.
if you'd like to know more about the lighthouse, go back and watch episode 9, I think.
How do you know what number it is? You fucking cretin.
But what I mean is that these one-shots are presumably going to affect the main campaign in a lot of ways. And so whenever we bring up what was the fate of Gold Sneezer last night, I'm like, I don't want to know. Because he didn't die in front of my face. So I don't know if he's dead, which means that gives John as much creative liberty as he wants to give us the fate of Gold Sneezer.
All we all want right now is a quantum superstructure of Gold Sneezer.
I want a Gold Sneezer superposition.
I don't know either of those things.
Gold Sneezer is alive and
It's-
dead at the same time.
It's a Gold Sneezer's
Oh.
cat.
Yeah. Gold Sneezer's nose.
Gold Sneezer didn't have a cat.
The nose
Has he
is
sneezed or not?
the nose is blown and unblown at the exact at all moments until we get to
Gold
that point.
Sneezer's epilogue in regards to that one shot is multiple choice. And someone filled in all the circles.
I will let you guys all know that after you guys left last night, I laid in bed for about an hour, thought about it, went to sleep, woke up in the morning, had breakfast with my parents, continued to think about it, and then wrote down my session notes
Yep.
of how this will affect the campaign,
Now
the
imagine,
outcomes.
not to harp back on myself here, but imagine that, but like you don't do fucking shit, and you're a useless waste of a human being, and all of your time is pointless, and no one gives a shit how you spend minute to minute, right? And I gotta fill that time somehow. Okay? And so I end up thinking about shit that just doesn't fucking matter. But apparently it matters to me. And so I end up getting sad that, oh no, Stranger doesn't get to have a fucking aggravating bullshit conversation with Aiden about what is an identity and get to annoy John to goddamn bits. Or like, I don't get to like fulfill my dreams of Stranger doesn't get to fulfill his dreams of actually discovering the true name of actually like the world is a tulpa. And this whole time I'm like, it's a thought construct shared in the collective unconscious that everyone's perception of the world dictates what it is, literally, not metaphorically, but in real life, that is the way it is. Just not literally. The world is dictated by everyone's perceptions of it. That's just the way it is. Where the way we live, who is right and wrong, that's just the way it is.
I mean, I can understand that to a point, and this is going to sound very reductive, and I mean it to be so. But, yeah, I mean, people's perceptions of the world physically manifest what the world is, but that can just be summed up as things happen because people do them.
Right. Exactly. But the problem is in the real world, and this is how I feel, I'm sure there's some stupid fucking idiot who'll be like, actually, no, you're not stupid. I promise. You're probably smarter than me. But I'm sure there's some person out there who will be like, actually, no, you can't prove this. But the thing is, I don't need to prove it. There is a physicality to the world. We are on a rock in space. That's physical. What I think about that doesn't change that, in my opinion.
So there's an argument for that.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's shitload.
Basically, you're getting into solipsism.
Right.
Which is the argument against solipsism has already been founded. And it's a done and over with concept. Everyone tries to break it down, but like it's real simple. Who fucking cares? We can't change that aspect if it isn't true.
I mean, that's honestly my response to the simulation theory shit.
It's like,
is
what are we gonna do about it?
like, you tell me, if you show me irrefutable proof that we are in a simulation that is indistinguishable from the real world, then I'm like, okay, that's the real world then.
If it's
Yeah, what-
indistinguishable.
How?
Then there's-
What are we gonna do about it?
If I get out, then I'm in a different real world.
That may also be a simulation
Exactly.
for all I know.
It's
so,
like
so let's
Plato's
stop thinking about it
shadows
because it's
or
not
whatever.
worth
It's like
discussing.
Plato's closet.
It's like Plato's closet. Once you get out of Plato's closet, you're like, am I just in a bigger closet now?
I mean,
You're
isn't that what a house
you're
is?
actually in a shopping mall.
There you go.
But
I
once you
mean,
get out of the Plato's
at,
closet.
At the end of the day, isn't a shopping mall just a bigger closet?
Wow,
Dude,
that's
you
deep.
guys,
That's
you
real
guys
hashtag
are
deep.
so far.
The
over my
world's a
head.
closet. We're all in it.
Basically,
We're all gay.
First off, solipsism is the idea that there is nothing outside of this. I am the only real person ever. And everything that's ever happened, everything that ever will happen,
It's
is
just-
because I've just imagined it.
It's just the brain
And
in a jar.
and the argument against that is,
who fucking cares?
If-
Then this is all you got.
If that's the case, then I guess we'll just keep moving forward. There's nothing I can do about it.
I don't know why. Don't look at me. I have nothing to say here.
There isn't anything to
I-
say. That's the end of the argument.
I just go down this rabbit hole of I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
But before I derailed, I did have that thought where wouldn't it be neat because it's a fantasy world? There is.
Let me elaborate. I'm gonna think myself to death is what I meant by that.
I don't even remember what you said.
Kill myself.
Great in Minecraft. In
Delete yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
You're just gonna
It's a
have an
fantasy
aneurysm.
world, and magic bullshit can just happen. We can just say that. So maybe the material plane could be a tulpa from the collective unconscious.
I know what I would do as a DM, and it would you'd fucking hate it.
Well, either way, that's never something I can explore in a satisfying way.
You've used so many different terms that it just blocked my train of thought. And I just cannot form concepts.
We are watching as John just starts to lean into the conversation, and then Scott or one of the other of us will just say something, and John just leans back and goes completely blank.
I thought I knew what I was talking about. And
My
then
filler,
I didn't.
my filler for this, so much lower on the scale.
This is a slight deviation.
I've talked more than John this episode.
One of my favorite thought experiments, just because I like how creepy it is, and it would be neat if, maybe there has been, but I don't know. It'd be neat if there was a work of fiction that tackled this exact thing, where, so the collective unconscious, for your benefit, Sean, it's self-explanatory. It's just that there's an invisible network that connects all sentient beings, whether they aren't aware of it or not. It's not real. But people think it is. Some people really do believe in it. You can't prove it or disprove it, really. It's one of those. And there's they've had real life experiments to try and prove its existence. For example, they tried to teach.
Did they make a bunch of people sit down on the table after they drew two pictures?
It's kind of something like that.
That's
They tried to
crazy,
teach
dude.
a bunch of
I did that
American
once.
kindergartners this Japanese song. First, they taught them the song in English, and they just jumbled up the words and changed up the meaning slightly so that it flowed phonetically with the song and met the meter.
Mm-hmm.
And then they taught a different group the Japanese song phonetically in Japanese, and a week passed, and the English song was not remembered at all by these kids, but every child apparently remembered the Japanese phonetic song. And apparently that means that they were able to remember it because unconsciously they had tapped into this collective that the song existed in Japan.
Is this
People
like,
knew the song in Japan in Japanese and didn't know it in English.
Is this similar to the fact that like everybody did those weird S's in middle school and high school?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
everybody knew the same joke that Marilyn Manson had his ribs removed so he could give himself fellatio.
This is maybe, I don't know, but yes, why not?
Okay.
The idea I've had, I'm certain other people have had this idea. This, in fact, this is something I've talked about with one of you, probably you, Cody. I just love the idea that the collective unconscious has an identity, right? And eventually gets self-aware, and it's like this sentient web that's connecting every human being that ever lived, and is moving humans toward the way it wants.
That's just a deity at that stage.
Well, no, it's a human-created one
That's the Attack Titan.
in one guy. Or is it Aaron? Aaron? Is it Aaron, or is it the Attack Titan? Which came first, chicken or the egg? It could be both, right?
Wait, please, Scott, before we
John's-
continue, can
John's
you please
tapping
say
out.
it?
There you go.
Great. What am I saying?
No, he said it.
All right.
He was good.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, I just love that idea. I love the idea that, wouldn't that be cool? Like a really personal, it starts personal, a movie or book or whatever, and then it ends up being, holy shit, the enemy is this invisible sentient network that connects all human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's a neat idea that hasn't really.
It's a spooky
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Spoopy.
Too
That's
spooky
it.
for me.
that's all. Hey, it wasn't my corner.
What was your corner about?
I just wanted to talk
got
about
that-
last night's game.
You got about 7 minutes.
We can talk about last.
As I
night's
said,
game,
it's
but
just, I finally got the playing a John one shot. It was great.
Well,
it
thank
was
you.
good.
That was nice and heady. I like that.
I hate bards.
Yeah, we found that out.
I should just leave now.
Level
I-
1
nothing
characters.
to do.
Obviously, I would have had more fun if we were like level 5 or whatever, but I think bards just suck.
I was surprised that the vote was for the level 1.
I think you drew us in with
It's gonna affect
campaign
the story.
consequences.
Yeah,
Yeah,
campaign
yeah.
consequences
Yeah.
is why that
That's
happened.
certainly why I voted for it.
I knew going in I was gonna hate that we were all level 1, but I'm like, story.
I didn't get.
I
to
didn't mind it
play-
all that much.
You also did have the only one that had a subtype.
That's a good point. I also probably had the most screen time.
That's also true. The great thing about level 1s is you still can be the character that you want to be, that I made you guys be. But you can create the personality for the character that you want to play as.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I'm a least fan of when it comes to this kind of one shot is that I didn't get to make the character.
Right.
Like,
I
sure, I
felt
got
like
to
that
assign the personality
regardless.
or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel nothing about whatever the fuck his name was. I don't even remember his name.
Urius.
Urius.
I felt like I had almost all of the agency on the mechanic side completely taken from me.
I
There
like
was
that
a lot
though.
of agency.
I mean,
when
you
it comes
guys
to
could have.
it.
He said, pick one of the 6. You guys had all the choice you wanted.
Yeah, I made.
There
I
were-
picked wrong.
There were 2 automatically,
Yep.
because those were the 2 that were chosen for Chris and Andy to play as.
Okay,
Which
well, you
Chris
had to
never
pick a
played.
4.
But there's still 4.
No, Nah, never mind.
Well, then you immediately chimed in with, or Scott immediately chimed in with Bard as I was thinking, I might try a Bard this time.
Well, I was
Scott's
looking at
like,
the-
Bard.
I was looking at the options, and it was like fighter, cleric, artificer,
Bard.
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 And I'm like, I can't be a fighter. I'm a fighter in his game and a fighter already.
Mhm.
And all right, so artificer, bard, or cleric, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
And then you were like, I'll play the
Bard.
cleric. I'm like, great. Do I want to play a fighter or do I want to play an artificer? And Justin chimed in with fighter, so I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I get locked in with the class, which I know nothing about.
Justin full on was like, I don't even want to play level 1 characters. I'm just going to play a simple one.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's like, roll dice. Okay. I have very little control over what's going to happen there. And then it's level 1. There are no choices to be made.
You've said something, but Cody has said something before that I'm a fan of when it comes to just, I guess, agency in general. This probably isn't the way you said it. You can probably do it better than me. It's something along the lines of there are players and there are audience members.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an original thought. But
Yeah, but you're the one who made me aware of that idea, and I'm a fan of that. I've never really considered it when I play or watch.
Critical Role.
What are these games?
Tabletops.
RPs and RPGs, and I never really considered it until you made me aware of that. And I think that's something I'm kind of proud of, is that I don't think one or the other is better. People are suited to either one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud though that I think I'm a player.
I think so too.
I think there's also there's the driver's seat and there's the passenger seats. But I also think that there's an enabler spot that helps kind of build up the players that are taking passenger seat.
I wish I were better at that.
If we want to look at your campaign, I think that's where I tried to go to. You have Tibble is clear cut the leader, but Reese interacts with other characters a lot.
Yeah.
Specifically other players a lot.
And I try to do that, but Scott is bad at talking to people. And it's easy to talk to you when you're a billion different people, and I'm like, oh, I can be confident, and look at me, I know what I'm doing. Even though I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
For whatever reason, that was very true last night. It's been a while since I've played a character without any real thought put into them.
Yeah.
And
that did help. Whereas, like, I had almost nothing to think about going into this, and I had a lot of fun playing Gold Sneezer.
I can tell.
Weird fucking character to try. I didn't know. I literally showed up with basically a character sheet having no thought put into it and went, John turned to me, and I'm like, okay, split-second decision, who is this character? Which was a lot of fun. And it turned me into, because most of the time I am kind of more of an audience member.
Mhm.
Most of the time. That's the way this works. It immediately put me into, I'm going to be an active character at this stage, because suddenly this seems much more interesting than whatever I had initially, like, unconsciously been thinking might have happened.
I had the whole dynamic for the team written out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did we get
initially
close?
Gold Sneezer was the number 2 of the party.
Interesting.
Like you had Magni was the leader.
I liked what you were doing.
Gold Sneezer was the number 2, and then Sven would have been the number 3.
Okay.
What I think it turned into was Sven ended up being the number 2 because he's the guy who just gets stuff done.
He was the straight man.
He was the, yeah. He
I
the-
was very much the straight man. Yes.
Like-
and Gold Sneezer seemed to turn into the ideas guy.
Sure.
Is what it felt like.
Well, I also like you bring that up that kind of you had this moment where you shifted from audience member to player, and I think that just D&D writing itself, Gold Sneezer was in almost a unique position to have to progress the plot because your character was the only one who knew how to speak Elven. Well, there was 2.
Which was Magni.
Magni, the leader, and then Gold Sneezer. And so, if any of us wanted to talk to this character, it had to be you or it had to be Justin.
And
And both of you-
Justin was kind of floundering, and I'm like, I need to not get us into a fight because we're
Justin
level 1
is
and we're
Justin
gonna
is
die.
very much an audience member. Justin is very much a person who can just watch the game unfold and have plenty of fun.
Right.
Tell me when I roll to attack.
You guys heard Justin when I'm like, the messenger came to him and it was like, hey, you're the leader because you're Magni Griffinwind
And
of
he
the
went-
Griffinwind Guardians.
Oh,
He's like, I did not know that when I picked this character.
I noticed that, which
Yep.
is part of why I was like, I don't want to be the
Uh-oh.
fighter.
Where do you think you lay on that spectrum?
That's a good question. I think I'm a bit of both. I would like to assume I'm a bit of both.
I would prefer if you were more of a player because I get with you in particular. I don't know why this is. I get frustrated at you when you take the audience role.
I have to be very active in the campaign proper.
I think
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I-
So it's gonna change.
so. This
Very
is
quick.
I'm
So-
happy.
Yeah.
So coming from more of a passenger side of things pretty frequently, I would definitely say if you naturally are kind of inclined to that, what you will notice is that the players very much immediately jump into that spotlight and that position, and you're like, well, most of the time I don't have to, so I don't, I enjoy seeing them do that. And if I were to try it, I'm going to have to compete with them. Which isn't necessarily what's going on, but it certainly feels
It's the
that
dynamic
way.
of the field.
Yeah, you definitely feel like I'm going to have to try and beat them when they're in their element in order for this to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
And that is certainly a discouragement.
My one bit of reticence with your upcoming campaign, John,
Which
is
I think is why I could do that with
that-
Justin.
I do feel like I'm happy. For God's sake, I'm happy that I won't be the main leader guy.
Yeah.
The white human guy who is the main character type. I'm glad that's not going to be me, but I'm reticent because I don't know how I can be all that active outside of combat.
I think it will be interesting. Simply because of the concept of the character. You cannot take the leadership role. You can't take the driver's seat.
I have to
But
be reactive.
I promise you right now, there's going to be a time where I force you into that seat. And it'll be a really interesting encounter
Okay.
because of this challenge that's already been presented.
I will say this as well, slight tangent. Very good job at running a one-shot.
John, I think you've nailed pacing.
I'm
He
glad you guys are saying this Because I walked away from that like, dude, I fucked up so many times. This was absolute dog shit what I had in my head.
There were like
I was
all
gonna
of
bring
us-
that up.
We went into this. All of us knew this was a one shot. We needed to be done by the end of the night, and you did a really good job of really putting us in the mindset of we need to do things in the order you kind of present them. So that we can get done for the night without it ever feeling like you are heavily pushing us in one way or the other, which was really well done.
I have a question that I'm somewhat afraid to ask, or I guess afraid for you to answer.
If I don't want to answer it, I won't.
It's not really a spoiler thing. It might break an illusion, but I don't think it will. When we ended the lighthouse one, is that like where you were like, okay, and then we'll zoom out, and that's where it ends?
It is a spot that I thought, hey, we could end if we're at a certain time frame here. I had an epilogue to the session ready that we never went to.
Because we
Because you guys said, hey, this is where we would like to end, and I respected that.
Yeah. I think you've got you had really good pace on that one shot, and I think I need to learn from that because my one shot took the equivalent of 3 sessions.
I am fucking
I get
awful
it.
at
My
pacing.
first one shot, same way.
I was gonna say I'm awful at pacing.
Like
Best of
I
all-
clearly have no real experience DMing, but I can tell you, I don't even know. Like in general, I know where I would start to formulate a session. I don't know what the fuck I would do if I'm like, all right, we got to do this in 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of it comes down to being able to work with your players. Like, because any goal you want to do has to go through that filter of the players. So you've got to have a really good idea of how your players react to certain things and a lot of trust in them to be able to do the things that you need them to do without question it. Just like, sometimes it's a matter of who is the kind of person who you can throw a hook at and they will immediately stick everyone else on it and then drag them with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones who are like, I see what he's trying to do, and that is the correct way this story needs to move, and I know how to get everyone else.
What's really frustrating is if you're behind the screen and you are casting those hooks out into the proverbial pond and nobody is taking the bait.
Yes, that is the other thing.
This was something I wanted to bring up to you, John, about last night, and how the kind of climax of the session ended. We were basically rescuing a bunch of villagers from zombies and rats and some spooky guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what your goal for that was, but we ended up trying to corral all the villagers back to a safer town that was a little ways away. And I feel like if that was your goal, we were having a really tough time doing that. And I only thought about it afterwards, but the way Sven behaved that way, the way I played him, I realized I would probably be really frustrated with that player for doing that. Because I had an idea about what the party wanted to do, and then there's just...
This motherfucker keeps trying to save innocent people?
Maybe sacrifice himself, and I would be behind the screen just being like, dude, just go. Just progress the story. But every turn, I'm just like, no. Sven would do the right thing and be the last one out the door. He would sacrifice himself before putting all these villagers in harm's way. And I understand that would probably be annoying from some person's point of view.
So this one shot, I initially thought to myself was something that you guys run into these guys at some point. They talk about their experience. That way your characters know what to expect a little bit going into, the outer areas of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I said like, oh, if you guys want to do a one shot, sure, we can do something. And I thought, I'm like, let's just erase what I already have planned for that story and let them create it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, A, B, and C are going to happen. A being the centaur captures a drow. B being you guys run into a hole. And C being you guys go into the lumberyard. Spoiler alert, the drow might have been your character.
You guys saw Vicky?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yeah. She wasn't doing too hot.
Oh fuck!
We'll get to that later. He doesn't know about this.
Yeah.
I did not ask for his permission.
I voted for the first.
I
Sony.
violated your draft.
Great.
Anyway.
Compositionally.
Those were the 3 things that I said were going to happen. You guys run into the centaur. You guys handle that however you want to. I assumed it was going to be combat.
Yeah. I assumed because Thyron was the one you were playing and he's the one that initiated it.
Only because Justin told him to.
Yeah.
The hole, I just left it there to open up an air of mystery. I won't tell you guys any more than that.
That was another thing where I'm like, obviously John knows what this hole is. And we floundered there for like 10 or 15 minutes just trying to figure out what this hole is.
What the fuck is this hole?
And it's, from my perspective at least, clearly there's nothing we are going to be able to figure out. And I have had that thought where I'm like behind the screen and I'm thinking, why do you guys keep asking questions? There is nothing for you to gain. Why are you fixating on this? But I just can't tell you, stop.
I've run into this numerous times in campaigns. In my instance, the one that comes to mind immediately is it was a trash can.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you guys now, it was a trash can. All it did was you put stuff in it at a given time. It teleported that shit into an incinerator. We spent in that game 3 hours on that trash can. Now, one of the things that I will do as a DM in regards to this is I will just put a hole or something of that nature in front of my players, pretty much entirely for my own amusement, to see what they will do. I have no plan for what the fuck this hole is until one of the players says something that I like. And
Wow,
then I will go.
interesting.
I will have ideas of what I think what I put in the game is going to be, what it's for, all this other stuff. Instead of like, this is what it is, I go,
This is here.
this is here for the players to find and interact with. I have some ideas of what it is. But at any point, because the point of anything in the game for you guys to interact with is for you guys to have fun. If you guys are getting frustrated with the thing, that means I'm doing something wrong. I have been too obtuse or something of that nature. So at the end of the day, the players, I might have a story I'm thinking of, but the players are the ones who are going to end up telling it. So if the players are telling a different story than the one I had planned, I should follow that, is why I do it that way.
I think that's something that I have to work on. I think I can be very selfish
Rigid.
in that
I-
capacity.
I can tell you that there is a really weird middle area for me right now because there is a purpose to that hole.
Oh, I'm sure
I know
there
there
was.
But I live for the
My guess,
moments.
my guess was that might have been a mass grave.
That's where my head went, and that's where the zombies came from, maybe.
That's the only thing I have, which I really doubt is the actual reason.
Well, I mean, I already mentioned it. I realize there's no way we're going to be able to get enough information about this. So why are we still fixating on this? I will say,
I have a
John.
bit more ideas of what's going on in the campaign because I'm not playing and John told me some stuff, so I have other ideas running around that just hit me.
I will say, John, that 2 things. First off, I'm very envious of you to be able to say, this is what I thought the one shot would be, but I'm just going to let them write the story. I'm jealous that you're able to distance yourself from what you have planned so much.
That's the advice that I was given, that I found on YouTube for writing a mystery campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Was that you have an idea of like what the final solution is. You have
Please don't say the word final solution. We were just talking about Germany.
you have some clues, but for all purposes, you should let your players figure out what it is and change your last thing based on the plot threads they created.
Mhm.
I don't know,
if
man.
we were in my campaign
So-
outright, it would be up to the questions that you guys ask and your guys' perceptions, your guys' roles. But with it being a one shot, there is times where you might not ask. I would say, "Hey, Cody, make a perception check."
Right.
Your character found this.
Yeah, with
I think that's the point of something like passive investigation.
It is. It is. I think in an outright campaign, I would follow the passive stuff more so. In a one shot, I'm a little bit more strict about it.
Yeah. It's part of those things where you, as what is essentially the author of the story you're trying to tell, have an incredible amount of information that just isn't going to get communicated to the players because it's in your head.
Mhm.
You know how it works. Usually more intuitively than you've actually planned it out. And a lot of the players end up missing a lot more. Whereas when you're actually writing stuff, you have to lay it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And usually if you've done it right, the foreshadowing will be there for the people to pick up on it. But in a cooperative storytelling environment like this, like, stuff is just going to get missed because it is an active level of interaction. And though telling the story you want is usually way, way harder because you can't communicate everything in the way that it needs to be,
Mhm.
necessarily in the order it's going to have to be for the people to make the connections you want.
Yep.
And a lot of times the puzzle for you then should be to, how can I change what I had originally planned to feel like the players are finding the things they need to be.
I have something about that. I have something about Chris's as well. I think I kind of disagree with that approach about mysteries.
Yeah.
I feel like for a mystery, the ending should be concrete.
Mm-hmm.
There should be one killer, and all the paths will lead to that killer eventually.
We know who shot JR.
But, right, we know who is the origami killer. But I think what can change is the clues they find along the way, and
That's
sometimes the party only finds certain clues, and those clues have to be able to lead you to the end. So the point of running a mystery is massaging those clues in order to get them where you need to go.
I agree with you there.
About what you were saying though is, and it's very kind of antithetical, I think, to the way I write stories. Is I'll spoil a little bit of the illusion here. Is I really enjoyed the one-shot murder mystery that we did with Stranger and Aiden.
3-shot.
A 3-shot. And there were a lot of those aha moments where you guys found a clue and you made these connections. Sometimes I had to like nudge you a little more than I thought was necessary, but you found all the clues. But I ripped off that whole story from a book, like beat for beat, and then just gave it a coat of paint for my campaign world. And so I'm like, and that's kind of how I was able to improv so well, is I read the book and I'm like, okay, I know what the world is like and I know all the beats that are going to hit. But the thing is, there were plenty of points where I'm like, well, it's so easy for them to find the golem's hideout. They just have to be a werewolf in the city watch so that they can follow the scent trails of the golems to this basement in this unused part of town that none of you have ever been told about. It's so, yeah, it's Discworld. And it's like, it's so obvious to me how they're going to get to the golem hideout.
You knew the story so well that you're like, of course they know what they're doing. This is how the story's supposed to go.
That's exactly what it is. And I'm like, I
what I
really
was
like the
getting at.
story and I want to see that story.
And that was the problem I was trying to say about you have to try to avoid. Is like, it doesn't matter what the story you're trying to tell is because the players don't know what's in your head.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, I feel like I can be selfish like that because it's like, I want to see this story. I don't want to see your guys' story.
So-
Which, yeah, the plan really there is to basically try and reorientate your goals.
Chris, to water everything down that happened in my one shot, they went to the woods to find your character who was wandering around aimlessly.
Okay.
When they did, it was caught by a centaur and was being taken back to the centaur's camp.
And you were like not. She was
were-
not in his
you have a
right
You were not in
mind.
your right mind at the moment.
Head injury, poison, something.
Everybody thought you were poisoned because I'd never seen an elf with such terrible skin pigment.
White
Oh.
hair.
Until we actually got up close to you and like, nope, that's normal.
She's kind of a mega babe.
After the centaur thing, they agreed to trade you for a cow.
Nice.
Well, because the centaur was going to eat you.
And like 3 buckets of fish. I
And
think.
3 buckets of fish, and attempted to give him a chicken.
All my idea. I was so glad I came up with that.
What did you think? Did you think I was being arch or something when I'm like, hey, so like, you want to meet me at the stable? I'm like, I'm gonna go to the stable right fucking now. And you're
I'm
like,
like,
okay, is this the campaign? Are you just gonna hang out and fuck this lady?
I thought to myself, I'm like, huh. He's either
I thought
doing
you were gonna do
something
that.
stupid or he's really playing into the aspect of a bard.
No.
Let's see what happens.
You said we went to the stable and I heard other animals. Like, oh, I'm gonna get more animals then.
But they made that trade, and then it was during that travel to there that they saw the block of the hole in the road. After they had got back and all that was done, they brought the drow in. Then a dude came over and was like, "Hey, lumberyard's under attack. You guys need to go save it." Great. Party grabs the cart, runs up there, and from this point on, there were two things that I had set. That there were passengers that you could save. I gave you a cart, and I said there was not going to be enough room for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
From there on, it was your decisions. And this was where it was like, you guys can try to run, you might not make it.
Yeah.
I had already gone down once at that stage. I was at 1 hit point. I'm like, I, as a player, love the sacrifice play. And I'm like, I'm not going to play this character again. I'm not even going to play in the next campaign. I don't care what happens to him at this stage. I just want him to go out well. So I'm like, I'll do that, which is why I told everyone to get him on the cart and run.
Mm.
And then Cody's like, I can do it too.
Oh, by the way, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Thyron, so when you try to RP him, simple enough is just like, I will smite them with justice.
He is.
They will die swiftly to my blade.
Thyron was so much fun.
And just like things like that. Just straight, by the books, I'm a paladin, I cannot fail mindset.
His self-confidence was amazing.
He had more charisma than the motherfucking bard.
Yes, he did.
Um,
He just didn't have the intelligence to use it.
So you're
I
aware.
will slay monsters like I slay.
He did yell "Be gone!" Thought
yeah,
As
that
he-
did happen.
as he swung at a drow.
But that's just because he was thinking some things, and he's like,
Yeah,
no.
thought. Get out of here! I'm
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
this drow.
Yeah.
Be gone,
So-
black spot.
With that was the three things that I laid out for that encounter. And literally it's like, hey, if people are going to stay and just be a distraction, I thought to myself, okay, when they leave, I'll just make it a skill encounter. I second guessed that as we were going through it, because I'm like, fuck, dude, they're level 1, they ain't got shit to do for skill encounters. Acrobatics. Great, good for you.
I'll roll a d20 and add nothing.
Yeah.
Could I do that?
That's literally what was happening. I'm like, well, John, this was a mistake.
I think you did it fine.
Yeah,
I felt
thought-
great. Well,
But,
technically, I was being dragged off
I
at
was-
that stage.
I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'll probably just like, for the amount of people that want to stay back and be a distraction, I'll remove that many successes. And then nobody stayed back. I'm like, well, one person stayed back. Not by choice.
I will say, that was a brilliant piece of storytelling when the zombies came out, Gold Sneezer went down, and then you said, the zombie picks him up and starts carrying him away, and everyone went,
Where's he going?
That was another one little piece that I wanted. So, Chris, I rolled, maybe it's because I was playing your paladin that you're going to be playing. I rolled like absolute dog shit with some of these guys.
Nice.
I think I hit 3 times, maybe,
No idea.
with like 5 characters. Like, it was
he was rolling
absolute garbage.
So yeah, that's Thyron and all the bad guys.
Like, it was so... I think there was one time that I rolled above a 10, and I'm like, this guy fucking stinks!
That whole session felt like, I think that's what you're going for. Felt like the beginning of a horror movie.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Like, at the end, the zombie... at the beginning, in a horror movie, it would have been like 7 minutes, maybe 8.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it was an entire session. And the zombies show up and, oh, it's all turmoil. Then we hard cut to like a Birdman walking down a road or something.
I was thinking about referencing Shano, because he was in the town at the time of this one shot.
Oh, great.
I didn't tell you that either. I violated your bird.
Where are we at?
We're at 124.
I thought it was so much deeper.
I did too. Holy crap.
I feel like this is a nice...
So anyway,
Party
wrap up my
podcast?
corner. Good one shot, John.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was actually worried that it was not good.
I heard great things about your one shots. You delivered.
Oh, it's getting hot in here.
So take off all your clothes. Oh wait, this is in the buff. We've already done
They're
that.
already off. Remove your skin. Get it off of your personal space.
Dude, fucking Rick and Morty references are so pastiche at this point.
Yes, yes.
I don't even know if pastiche is. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that was the correct usage of the term.
I don't think so. I think you might have been looking for passe.
I don't know what I was looking for. I just
You know what I
made a
think?
noise.
Either way, it sounds like you're looking for something in French.
Hall pass.
I thought pastiche was a French dinner.
No idea. No idea.
Posse.
You know what I have to say?
No.
That we've had a great time here talking about a great game and some existential crisis about identity and life. So
Your beard looked itchy, so.
you have no identity. You're just a brain in a jar. Goodbye, everybody.